Steph.
Hello, Hannah.
How's
How's it
it
going?
going?
Oh, it's going. It's going.
I
I'm
love it.
excited.
Welcome to another episode of Bariatric Banter Podcast.
This is 20, isn't it?
2-0, the
My
big 20.
gosh. Oh my
Crazy.
gosh. I love it. I can't believe we have 20.
I know.
That's crazy.
It's also crazy just to think like, oh my God, how have 20 weeks gone by? Like,
That's true.
yeah.
To think that like we've sat here 20 times
Mhm.
and recorded a podcast, it
And to
doesn't feel
think-
like 20 times.
No, it like in reality, we're getting very close to the halfway point of the year, which like blows my
That's insane.
I know, I'm sorry I brought that up, but
That's insane.
isn't that crazy?
No, that's
I
crazy.
I know. But it's a good week. We
Wow.
have a good happy topic. Not that our topics aren't happy, but you know
No,
what I
some are
mean.
heavier than others.
Sure. But this
This will
one,
be fun.
this will be fun and nerve-wracking all at the same time. Yeah, it will. Because we are going to finally cover the long-awaited,
Finally.
requested
Yep.
dating and relationships
The big one.
after
The big
weight
one.
loss surgery.
We have gotten so many comments about this lately.
Oh,
Literally, like
Many
even a couple,
questions.
what was it? A day or two ago, we had somebody on our Instagram comment and I was chatting with them and I said, if there's any other topics you would love to hear us talk about. They're 2 weeks out from their surgery. And they said, I'd really like to hear about dating and relationships. And I was like, another one. Okay. So I was like, we got to do this. We can't keep putting it off. We got to do this.
Correct.
The people have spoken.
The people have spoken and they said, Hannah, talk about your dating life. It's like
everyone, Hannah is single and ready to mingle. So if you want to slide into our Instagram DMs, feel free.
In the greater Kitchener area and have
if you have brothers or cousins or friends or relatives, we're accepting applications.
Yeah. Does your husband bring that single friend around a lot and you just wish they had a girlfriend? Like,
send us the photos, send us the bios. We're ready.
But yes, we'll cover dating and relationships because I think both are, topics that a lot of people wonder because there's a ton of people going into weight loss in general, not just surgery, that are married or are dating or, want to know how do we even navigate? What does that look like? And what does support look like? And even, questions for you, Steph, about how can you get support? What type of support are that, how can they help and all of that jazz? But just because I'm single doesn't mean we don't go through the same insecurities because we do.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
And then, yes, I am back on the dating apps trying. I don't have any first horror stories to share just yet, but I told Steph maybe I will document this on social a little bit more.
We got to do a series.
We'll do so. Yeah, we
got to do a series.
Do a Hannah's dating series. So, yeah.
Is there one app over the other that you're on right now that you prefer?
Hey, so super good question. And one that my therapist and I have talked about often. Funny.
Is there like a winner? Like you always go to that one first?
Oh boy, I downloaded a few of them and then fell into a rabbit hole on Reddit where like a lot of single people over 30 told me which ones were total bullshit. And I was like, I hear you. So obviously I didn't download Tinder. I'm not a 20-year-old college boy looking
you don't want to swipe
around campus. Yeah. However, I did try Bumble. And then from what I read on Reddit and also just kind of experience, people said over 30, Bumble just ain't it. It's not the platform you want to be on. And I was like, truthfully, I agree. So then I downloaded Hinge and then Coffee Meets Bagel. Hinge was
Coffee Meets Bagel. I've never heard of that one.
I'll get into that one. Hinge was okay, but I wasn't spending enough time. Okay, so there's a lot we'll unpack here. So Hinge was okay. I do like the setup of it. Like you can go and it's like Instagram almost. You can kind of like photos and send comments and blah, blah, blah. And then I got Coffee Meets Bagel because people said it's supposed to be for the more serious types. Like it's a slower app, but it's for people that want to get married and have a long-term relationship. And
like more mature.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. Because like I am in my 30s. I am 30. And so I'm looking for men that are, 30, I don't know, let's say 33 to 43. Like, I don't want guys crazy older than me. I really I don't want like a 10-year age gap either. I ideally want someone my age so we can go through life together.
Totally.
So I said, if they're on Tinder, they're not looking for the right. So if this is the more serious of the dating apps, then this is the one I'll be on. I hate it so
Oh,
much.
no.
And even my therapist was like, "How's it
Oh,
going?" And I was like,
no.
"So I don't open the app." So that's one thing
Okay.
I have to work on is like actually saying, "Okay, after work you have to open the apps and do
Right.
this." And there's a
Yeah,
lot of
dedicate time.
self-esteem. We can talk about the self-esteem issues after, but I don't go into them as much as I should. Coffee
Okay.
Meets Bagel is slow, and I am livid with how little matches you get. So you get
Oh,
like 6 bagels a day. That also drives me nuts, the whole bagel
okay.
like pun thing. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yep, these guys
S
are
6.
bagels. But you get 6 a day and then they want you
Okay.
to pay for more. Now, every
Of
app
course.
does that. And I was like, well, that's
Yes.
fine because most of them let me pay by the week. And like, I'll pay
Okay.
$7 to $14 a week for a dating app to see what it's like. I pay
Right.
more than that to play Marvel Rivals and Fortnite. Like,
Right.
Katie knows because I'm buying skins with Katie, our mutual work friend. She'll be
Yeah.
laughing when she listens to this because I spend more on Fortnite skins than I do on dating. But Coffee Meets Bagel is 40 fucking dollars.
What?
40 a month.
That's
A
no.
month.
Denied. I'd be
I was
delete,
like, I am
delete.
not paying that much money. Are you
No.
kidding? When all the other apps are between 7 and $14 a week. And I know people on here are gonna be like, $7 a week times 4, Hannah. Yeah, but I can pay by the week. Like,
Right.
I don't have to pay by the month. There is no weekly subscription to Coffee Meets
I'd
Bagel.
be deleting that one.
Well, so my therapist was like, and by the way, I love therapy, so I talk about it. Like her and I have kind of run out of things to talk about. And now we talk about dating apps.
I love it.
So she said, "Well, Hannah, maybe you should pay for it and start taking this, seriously. Like, what's your reservation?" I said, "I'm not against paying at
Right.
all, but I have seen no success yet. So
If
why am
there's
I
value in what you're paying for.
ding 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 ding? Why
Yeah.
would I pay $40 when I
For
am still very
garbage.
unsure that the right person's on this app
Right.
for me?"
Yeah.
Because of the 6 people that I get a day, they are completely not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And
If
I
you're
don't
getting solid options and you're making connections and you're getting value out of your money, that's one thing. But if it's if it's trash choices, then
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I told her. Had some of them been relevant, and like they don't have to always match with me because I know that
No.
doesn't happen. But if I opened it and went, "Oh yeah, yeah, oh my god, this is like
Yeah.
no, it's
Mm,
not what I'm looking for." Also, it
that's a
keeps giving
bummer.
me people from Vaughan, and for those who don't
No.
know, Vaughan would be like a good 50-minute drive from
Yeah.
here.
No.
I'm not driving 50 minutes for a date, and like I
No.
kind of want someone that's like here around
In your
me.
area. Yeah.
So that was my other concern where I was like, A, they're really old, and I set my preferences and you're not listening. I don't want to be mean, but I don't want a 45-year-old or a
Right.
50-year-old. Like,
Right. No.
not I want
Different
someone
things,
I want
different
someone in
stage in
their
your life.
30s, please.
Yeah. I'd be
Um,
deleting that one, I gotta say. I would that
don't like it. I don't like it. So then
I'd
it
be getting
makes
rid of it.
me I have to go back to Hinge. Someone said Facebook dating is for old people.
There's
So
Facebook dating. I
there's
didn't even know
Facebook
that was a
dating.
thing.
Steph, I might
Is
try.
like is like Plenty of Fish still around?
No, don't use that. No, no, no. No,
Is
no.
that still a thing though?
It's still a thing, but it's hot garbage.
Okay.
It's like the
I didn't
scam
even know if it was a
of a
thing.
dating app, like
What's the other match? What was the other big
Match.
Match.com? That was a big one. Is
I
that
think I
around?
wanna do Hinge. Yeah, it's still though
Okay.
like Plenty of Fish,
You
Christian
don't
Mingle,
Christian
like
Mingle, yeah, I've
Farmers
seen
Looking for
commercials.
Love,
Oh my
Day Date, all those things
you could
still
move out here and do Farmers Looking for Love.
listen, I would love a hardworking blue collar man. Like,
Hannah, you
I
gotta come here on a Saturday night for wing night at the
okay,
local Legion. It is
okay,
packed with
alright,
farmers.
okay, that's what we're doing then, okay?
Oh, if
This
we
okay,
can get Hannah a
2025.
farmer,
Bag Hannah a farmer. Listen, I would
done.
love that life. I could be his little tech girl and he could go run
Telling
the
you,
farm and then
you
I
come
could
out here, we'll get you a farmer.
thank
Done.
you. I just don't want to be in tech anymore. So I could quit and become a
And farm.
farm girl.
Yes.
Love it.
So, okay,
Okay.
wing night at the Legion. We're bringing
Okay.
Hannah to
Okay.
mingle with the farmers.
So it's funny you bring this up
Yeah.
because the other thing my therapist has said is you can't put all your eggs in one basket, but basically, I hope
But
she doesn't listen to this because she'd be like, that's not the advice I give you.
that's not what I said.
Oh my god. But she basically said, like, "You can't just be on dating apps, so,
No,
like,
you
what
got
else are you gonna do?" And I was
different
like
avenues, right?
I said, "We're gonna be starting like, pump them brakes," and she's like, "Hannah, it's May. Like,
Yeah.
you've been dragging your feet
What
about this for too
what
long."
about speed dating?
So that's what she said. Could you find, like, walking groups,
Mhm.
dog groups, running groups because 'cause you're a runner,
Yep.
or try speed dating? My
Yep.
hesitation was speed dating, and how do I say this so we don't get canceled. My hesitation with speed dating
Yeah.
is A, I don't think older gentlemen go to it. I
Okay.
really
I can prove you wrong. And this
don't.
is the reason I ask. So my brother runs a brewery in Guelph. I
It's
won't
like a
say
dog thing, right?
I don't know. I won't say the name of the brewery just in case I'm not allowed. I don't
I
know.
think I know which one
Um,
you're referencing.
but he runs a brewery in Guelph, and I just happened to see this earlier this month, and I was gonna send you the post, but it said female tickets were sold out. So they have done speed dating, but they had one. They're having it at the end of May, but it was ages 38 to 57, and
Oh,
it
come
was
on.
professionals only speed dating. And
Could
I
you
saw the post on May 6th, but then it said female tickets sold out,
do you think I could sneak in and pretend I'm 38 and just be like,
right?
"Hello,
But
fellow
so
adult."
there are some speed dating options out there for the older crowd, the more professional crowd. So I'm gonna I was I was thinking this. I'm like, I gotta message my brother
Yes,
and
please.
tell him next time you do another one, give me a heads up
And
so that I
lower
can
the
tell
age
Hannah.
a little bit, please. See that
Right?
so my hesitation would be if I snuck into that one,
Yeah.
they're all gonna be in their 50s, and I'm gonna be like, "Well, shit. I'm, like, way too young for
Right?
this." But, like, could he lower the age to, like,
Right?
33 and then, like,
Maybe.
I can sneak in and come? Because like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't go to the 38 one because you know, I'm a spry young
Right?
chicken over here, folks.
She's such a young baby. But I
Such a
gotta
young
ask him, I'm gonna say
kid.
next time you're doing speed dating, you gotta let me know ahead of time.
I
So
just realized my
there
birthday
are
is
some
coming
ones.
up, and I guess I could go.
And wah, wah.
No,
But there you go.
I'm
No,
still too young.
dude, I got the big one in 9 days. So don't even.
So she said speed.
Ugh.
There
Yeah.
is
So
one.
speed
There is
dating.
there's a puppy speed dating event
Okay.
coming up too, and I was like,
That'd be fun.
I need to. So she said do speed dating, and
Yeah.
you've countered my one argument, which was that older people don't do this, and then my other argument was just in the nicest way possible. What if it's not the demographic I'm looking for? Because
But it's only a couple hours and then you go home.
it is true, but I was just like
Right?
a lot of who is reaching out to me or that I'm being inundated with
Yeah.
is young men that are here as international students. And it's like,
Oh,
"Great,
okay.
thank you so much. I'm very flattered, but I'm
But no,
not interested in you." So
I
my
get that.
fear was, is it going to be just an overwhelming room of like young international students that I'm like, "I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not really
Not my
interested in?"
jam.
Or is it more like what I'm looking for, right? Which
Right.
like the other thing is I don't really want someone with the same job as me because
No, I agree.
I've worked with men in tech, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry to the men in tech listening or the men in tech in my lives. I don't want to date you.
No,
Like
I
I,
totally get that. I get
I
that. And it's just nice to have something different. Like Devin doesn't know what I do. He knows
yeah,
what I do, but like has no concept of what I do. I kind of know what he does, but again, don't really have a concept of what he does. And it's kind of nice to have that difference,
I think
right? Different things to talk to, different perspectives. I think
right.
working with somebody who has the same job as you, it makes it difficult too. Like then at the end of the day, what do you talk about? Like, you just have the
Oh,
same
exactly.
stuff, same experiences, same everything. Nah.
And like I get excited when I think about dating because I've been single for a while. I don't really want to get into that side of my life, but I've been
Yep.
single for a while. I was in an incredibly toxic, really
Yep.
like mentally abusive
Ugh,
relationship.
boo.
I have a good friend, her name I'm not gonna say her name, but I have a really good friend who lives here, and she
Yep.
was like, "It was the hardest thing ever watching you go through that." Like,
Yeah.
it was so hard to be your friend through that, because,
Fair.
like, you're smart and intelligent, and you just kept
And you're like, why are you doing this to
throwing
yourself?
yourself into the dumbest situation ever, and, like,
Yep.
she's not wrong. When I got out of it, I could look back and realize, like,
Oh shit.
whoa, I was physically and mentally abused a lot,
But when
and
you're in it, it's very hard to
yep,
see it
and
sometimes.
defend it a
Yeah.
lot. So people have
Denial.
said like, "Boy, why are you still single?" And I like a large part of it is I have very, very low self-esteem
I
because I've
hear you.
my whole life. And then
Yep.
another large part of it is like cuz I just don't want to I don't.
Yeah.
That ruined it for me. I'm
Totally.
happy alone. And
Yep.
like I know that's not a great answer cuz I'm not. I do want somebody
Yep.
in my life and that can
For
help out
sure.
with flow and can just as you get older and things start happening, like when I got
You want to
pneumonia
share things with people.
it's very scary to be by yourself going through a
Yep.
health crisis too, and I'm not saying that I need a husband because I'm gonna be sick, but it
Yeah,
was
but
just very
just to have
eye-opening.
somebody to rely on and
Yeah,
to look out for you,
it's
right?
always me.
Yeah.
Like, I
And
have to solve every problem.
people think that like you made a good comment where he's about like the low self-esteem. And we talked a little bit with Cass about low confidence and body image and that kind of stuff. But people also think that Well, just because you're in a relationship or once you're in a relationship that goes away.
Yeah.
And that's not the case either. And that can be difficult because then even if you when you do start a relationship, if things are going well, a lot of people who have been in our situations, that low self-esteem is very hard to build back up. And that can make relationships hard too, whether it's starting one, maintaining one, growing one. Um, so that's hard when you already have that going into things to then try and begin a solid relationship because you're always second guessing things. It's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to be comfortable. It's hard to be your true authentic self because you're always on the defensive, I'll say.
And that's I have avoided dating for
Yep.
years because of how I look, because
Right.
I felt like, nobody wants to date, and, like, I'm not saying this, like, I'm just
Yep.
saying this is what I would tell myself. No one wants to date a fat girl.
Yep.
Nobody wants to have no one would find me attractive because I'm fat. Um, so what's the point? Like, even if I got to talk to them on an app, they don't get to see my body. They're gonna see me in person and be disgusted. They're
Yep.
not gonna like what they see. And then I
Yep.
just got to a point where I was like, it's just easier not to
To not.
bother
Yep.
because it's
It's
causing me
easier to
too
be
much
alone.
stress. Yeah, and I it's just I'm happy alone. I
Yeah.
convinced myself that like my life is fine and I'm happy alone. And my life is truly wonderful. And I
Right.
don't need a man to feel fulfilled, but it's I do wanna like, I do want a husband,
Yep.
and because I wanna do things together, and I wanna build a life together, and, like, I'm
Yep.
tired of
And
always having to solve
share
everything for
experiences.
myself. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
so, I'm
Yep.
glad that I'm independent because I'll bring that into a relationship where I'll still have my own
Definitely.
friends, my own life, and I really want that in a man as well, like, this is not gonna be,
Hmm.
the, "I love you man" movie where he has no friends.
Yep.
um
Oh
and I'm
gosh.
his
Yep.
only friend.
That
I'm not
drives me
here to be
nuts.
a man's mother. I'm not here to be his
Nope.
maid. I'm not here to be his maid, and I'm not
Nope.
here to be his therapist. I wanna be your partner and your friend. I'm not a therapist, a maid, a nurse, or a mom.
No. It's a
So,
50-50. Yeah.
it's the self-esteem that's holding me back, and even now,
Yep.
because, you know, I will talk about it in therapy or with others, and they'll go, "How's dating going?" And I go, and they're like, "So you have dates? Are you talking to anyone?" And I'm like, "No."
No.
They're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Honestly, I haven't opened the app in, like, 2 weeks." Like, I'm
Yeah.
just
Which
I'm
is
a
kind of like that argument of how are you going when I continually say to Devin, "Gosh, I need to win the lottery. Gosh, I just want to win the lottery." And then he'll say, "Did you buy a ticket?" And I say, "Nope." And so, how are you going to win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket? How are you going to find a match if you don't open the app?
I know, and that's the thing
So
is,
we
like,
got to get Hannah to open the app.
I
You
wish it
need
would
to
follow the same
dedicate.
hair.
You need to dedicate a certain time
I know,
every week
I
in your
know.
calendar, on your calendar, a non-negotiable that
The
from
thing
this to
is,
this time is dating app time.
I just I hate the apps too, so, like, that's
Yeah.
not helping things, is I just genuinely I hate it. I hate
Yep.
this notion of, like, it's not enjoyable online dating either, like, either
Yeah.
they're not great at communicating or, like, I still
Yep.
have self-esteem where I feel like I need to have a billboard or the first
Yep.
post on every app needs to be, "Hey, I've lost over 161 pounds, and, like, this is what I used to look like, and now this is what I look like now, because that's gonna be more impressive." Like, I just feel like I have to tell this story,
Yeah.
and I know I don't. I know when I find the
No,
right
you
person,
don't.
I don't even care, but
No. It'll
I
just come
hold
naturally.
so much self-esteem. I still
Mhm.
see myself as the big girl. I still
Mhm.
feel like I'm gonna show up and they're gonna be disappointed. Now I have a whole other bag of self-esteem that's like, maybe I'm not as cute as I think I am. Because at least when I was obese, I was like, well, thank God, at least I'm cute looking. And now I'm like,
Oh
oh
my
my God,
goodness.
what if I'm ugly?
Oh
And
my
the
goodness.
obesity wasn't the reason, and I
Ay,
will
ay, ay.
message Steph and be
Yep.
like, "Steph, are my eyes,
Is my
like,
face
not"
drooping?
what did I say? I said, like, "Are my
You said your
eyes
face was uneven. Like, "Is my
uneven?"
face uneven?" And I was like, "What?" You're like, "I think it's drooping in an uneven way."
I was like, "I think I have an
And I was
eye
like,
that's higher than the
"No,
other," and you were
no."
like,
I mean, I do. Like, when I
"No."
smile, I legitimately I do and it's so funny, and I used to think this too, and I used to, like, agonize over it. I remember I don't know why this is so in my brain, but I remember being in grade 7, and we were doing art, and we were talking about, like, drawing people and stuff. And there was this thing that came up, and they were saying how if you look at the most popular celebrities and who people think are the most beautiful celebrities, they have extremely symmetrical faces.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
I have an extremely unsymmetrical face. And I remember being like, "Oh, shit." And, like, I remember then going home and, like, staring at myself in the mirror first of all, being a fat kid, and then looking at my face being like, well, this eye's lower than this eye, this nostril's here, this side of my mouth when I smile goes up and this side stays down, and I kind of look like I had a stroke. And whenever I do like
Like
any
Sean.
sort of like, yeah, any sort of smile, this side always goes up. And I remember, this is grade 7, and I remember sitting there being like, well, I'm fucked.
Oh shit.
Like, this is never gonna happen for me. And now every time, like I look at a photo of myself or a video and I'm smiling, I
Yeah.
can't help but look. My left side of my mouth always goes higher than my right, like significantly. And I don't do it on purpose. I can't control it, but
No.
I always pick out the asymmetries of my face all the time now. All the
I
time.
only
And it
have
drives me
one.
nuts.
I only have one dimple on
So do
one.
I. But do you want to know something funny?
What?
So my dad has 2 dimples. I have the left dimple, and my brother has the right dimple.
That's adorable.
Isn't that cute?
That's
I've
adorable.
had it since I was little. It's always there, and my brother has the other one.
Well, that's now
But
my
no.
new fear is that
Yeah.
it wasn't the weight. I'm just ugly.
You're
So
not? Okay.
that runs through my head too, that like I'm not as attractive as I
Yep.
think I am.
Yep.
And then the age factor. I've waited too long. I'm now old. Nobody wants an old person. And you know what I never focus on? I'm a
What?
badass who runs 10Ks. I have a super
Right?
fucking cool dog.
You're
I
accomplished in your career. You have
in
you
my
like
career. I have a
yeah.
really cool fucking job. I work in the
Right?
influencer marketing field. I run a fucking crazy podcast.
Yeah.
I love video games and literally play them every night. I'm a huge Marvel fan. Like, there's a lot of
So
really
many
shit
pros.
about me, but I
Yeah.
never focus on it. And I do
No.
a very bad job of like, I tend to,
Acknowledging it.
yeah. And so I'm not picking
Yeah.
the right men because I'm picking
But
whoever shows
that
interest
I
in.
think goes back to what we talked about on our last episode too of we don't have a history. I think people like us, people who have been through our journeys don't have a history of being nice to ourselves. We have such a history of shit talking ourselves all the time and having such horrible talk tracks and inner monologues that you can see how it, number one, is very difficult to get rid of, but how it starts to show up in all these different elements of your life. And that even after, like you said, you've come so far on your journey of all these amazing things going for you. If you made a pro con list, I bet you your pro con would be a gazillion times longer than the con list.
It always
But
is.
at the end of the day, you're going to pay attention to the con list, and the
Yep.
pro list you're just going to ignore.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the hard
So,
part.
and like, boy, we haven't even talked about like what it's going to be like to date. This is all
Yep.
what goes through my head before I even open a fucking app and talk to a man.
Yep.
And then all the other stuff that runs through is like, how do I navigate a first date where I don't drink and I can't
Mhm.
eat as much? And and again, when I find the right guy,
They
our
won't
first date
care.
would be a walk. Our first date would be
Right.
something like they won't, but it's
And
navigating.
ultimately, they wouldn't care.
No, but it's navigating like having to have that conversation.
Yes.
And,
How do you
you know,
bring that up?
I shared with a friend that speed dating at a
Yep.
brewery. Now it's not the same one, but speed dating at a brewery.
Yep.
And she made a comment of like, well, you don't drink beer, right? And I said, no, I don't drink. And she's like, do you think maybe like that's not the right crowd for you then? Like, I don't know
Yep.
if they're going to be into that. And I was like, well, they have non-alcoholic options places. And
I
if
was just about to
me
say,
not drinking beer is a
yeah,
fucking major turnoff for you, then
then
that's
it's
fine.
not the right person
Like
anyway.
I don't that's fine. But
Yeah.
like it's very clear from the get-go that like I just don't drink. I love that
Yeah.
people drink. Go drink, drink to your heart's content.
Yeah.
But
Do your
I don't.
thing.
And if that's a big deal breaker, then we're not meant to
Then that
be.
tells you right off the bat, not the right person anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dating's going to be a really I think going on a first date is going to be a really hard thing for me because I just don't have the self-esteem. I have really bad body image issues. Um,
But
and
first,
for
you got to before you even get to that point, you got to go on the app.
I know,
We
and
got to
like
find some matches.
I have to understand that I'm not looking for like just whoever. I am
Yep.
looking for the right person, so it will
For
be
sure.
slower.
Yes.
But I do know I need to dedicate more time, talk to more people. I need to kind of feel okay with it, but I also
Yep.
just know I like to avoid uncomfortable situations and things I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do because I'm an independent woman and
Yep.
I get to choose what I want to do. And so for me,
Yep.
I'm avoiding it. Like this is me avoiding having to do something that is going to be uncomfortable. Nobody fucking loves dating. It's not like
Change is hard.
the best thing in the world. So
Change is
yeah,
hard.
I'll share the good, the bad, and the ugly with you guys. I'll share like cringy messages and how I talk about surgery with them. The advice I've been given is I don't need to really tell them all of that up front.
No.
I feel like I
No, that's
do.
your business. That's your business. That's your prerogative.
Yeah.
And yeah, if it comes up, I think if it comes up, it comes up. But I don't think you're obligated to tell them off the bat. I don't think you have to. It can be part of a natural conversation if it comes up, but I don't think it's something that they necessarily need to know or should know right off the bat because it's such a small it's you don't want it to define you, right? There's so many other like we
Yes.
you just said, there's so many other positive elements to you.
So
And
many.
as a side note, I had bariatric surgery 2 years ago, right? Like, there's so many other things to focus on.
Yes.
It'll come up naturally, I'm sure.
It will, because people ask me all the time, "Oh, well, you're looking for someone, that has gone through this, right?" It's like, no, 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 no. But do I want someone that will, and this will lead really into questions I have for you, Steph.
Yep.
Do I want someone that will fit the lifestyle well? Sure. Now, that
Yep.
doesn't mean you've had to have surgery or have had
Right.
weight loss,
Right.
or need to be at the gym every single day for 6 hours, because I don't want a gym bro.
No. I
But
don't no.
I don't want someone to come into my life that wants to order pizza every night and sit on the
Yeah.
couch and
Yeah.
doesn't really wanna go for a walk, like, because I'll fall into that habit, and that's how a lot of women end up regaining, is they get into new relationships. The new
Yep.
relationship ends up being really like, "Let's eat out, let's order in, let's get dessert. I love you, you look beautiful, just eat what you wanna eat." And
Yep.
then the next thing they know, they've gained 30 or 40 pounds, and they're really upset with themselves. And
Right.
so, for me, it's important that I don't fall into the relationship trap,
Mhm.
of we can just do whatever we want because this man says that I look good. So I
Right.
would like someone that, like, wants to hike, wants to walk, is a bit conscious of, like, what he eats,
Yep.
isn't interested in just, like, pizza and beer on the couch every night. So no, they don't have to have weight loss surgery, but yeah, they need to fit into it. And so this brings up the question we get asked a lot, is it when you're already in existing relationships,
Yep.
how has this impacted, because you guys obviously met at a different stage of life, and
Yep.
relationships grow with you and grow through
For
change,
sure.
but you aren't entering surgery for your by yourself. I
Yep.
had the luxury of having no one to think about but me, but you had to think about your husband.
Yep.
Um, Not that this decision was his, it was yours,
Yep.
but
Yep.
how has this kind of changed your relationship with him? And,
Yeah.
like, what does that look like being married and having one of you go through this?
Yeah, it's not I will tell you, it's not easy. If you are a couple where only one of you are doing it, we've seen some couples on social media where they both do it either at the same time or one after the other. Um, we are not that case. So I have always been larger than Devin. We met online, online dating. My cousin, we, we had a party at my house. Sorry, mom, when my parents were out of town. We had a party at my house and she signed me up in an intoxicated stupor. Um, Told me about it like hours later. And at the time, we were young. We had had a couple of beverages. We couldn't figure out how to delete the profile and then just kind of forgot about it. We're partying. We're like, yeah, whatever. And then a couple days later, I got some notifications and I was like, what is this? It's like, oh shit. I forgot that she signed me up on this stupid dating app. And so I went through the online dating, had a couple, met some interesting people from there. But that's ultimately where Devin and I met. Anyway, so I, when I met Devin, he was like significantly smaller than me in terms of like weight and size. And so same thing that, um, self-esteem was a huge issue, huge concern, terrifying to actually meet in person. All the pictures you share are like your neck up, you're afraid. Totally get it. Went through that whole thing. But that being said, I we've gone through like and I not that it was good to go through these things, but we've gone through a lot of hard things together. We did fertility treatments for years. We went through the adoption cycle. So we've been through a lot of challenging things in the past.
Yeah.
But this was different because we weren't doing it necessarily together. So, like you said, the decision was ultimately mine. I asked him, what are your thoughts? I involved him in those initial calls with the
Yeah.
clinic so he could hear things. And he said too, like, Steph, like this is at the end of the day, this is your call, right? But I definitely wanted to make sure that the support was there. He was concerned because it's surgery at the end of the day. But it was very much of, it didn't matter to him
Okay.
whether I had it or not.
Nice.
Obviously, he wants me to be healthy and be around and be here for him and the kids. But
Yes.
from will I love you more if you have surgery perspective, no.
No.
But ultimately, it was my decision. So I was
Good.
very lucky. Devin was great through the whole thing. The recovery, he was super supportive during the recovery, very helpful. Again, recovery was pretty easy. Not that I really needed a lot, but he was definitely there. I think the hard part now, being 6, almost 7 months post-op,
Yeah.
is that I have said from the beginning, so I have 2 kids that are 7 and 9, oh my gosh, almost 10, almost 7 and 10. And I've said from the beginning, like, I want this to ultimately help everyone in the house make better decisions and healthier decisions. That being said, I'm not going to expect everyone to drastically change all of their food choices to match mine.
Yeah.
Because it is, we'll say, a little excessive at the beginning when I'm having purees and I'm not having beef and they want to have hamburgers. I'm not going to say you guys can't have beef for 6 months, you know? So they were really great with accommodating, um, and being supportive in that sense. It's been difficult in the sense of, as the mom, I'm typically the one who makes dinner and does those things. So having to make multiple meals, not easy. Especially when you're making something for your family, like hamburgers that you love, but you're here having your pureed vegetables or whatever you're having at that stage.
Yeah.
So that's difficult, that type of thing. But from a relationship perspective, um, it's it hasn't ch I would say it hasn't changed a ton. I think the hard thing for me is when we do have those differences in eating habits. Devin is an evening snacker. He intermittent fasts during the day, doesn't eat a lot during the day, but then after dinner, he'll have some chips or some this or some that. So that's hard because, like you talked about, having food in the house that shouldn't be in the house.
Yeah.
Again, we've tried to pare that back, but I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna say to him, "You can't ever have chips anymore," because I don't want them in the house. That's not realistic of me to put those expectations on somebody else. Have we toned it down? Definitely.
Okay.
But compromise is a big thing in those situations.
It is.
Um, but the self-esteem that you talk about, that's something, again, I've struggled with my entire life, my entire relationship with Devin, just because I was lucky enough to find somebody who loved me for who I was
Yeah.
at whatever size I was, didn't make me comfortable in that size, didn't make me necessarily feel good about myself. I think I maybe kind of also, I took it for granted, I think, in one sense. Um, but it didn't help me. And I still, now having lost what, 96, 97 pounds, I still see myself as that bigger person when it comes to our relationship. Devin has lost a lot of weight in the last year on his own. He's done phenomenal. He's lost like almost 100 pounds. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, pretty crazy. So it kind of, I'm not going to lie, it kind of makes me feel good that I'm getting closer to matching, I'll say, looking like more of a typical couple, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
And like the other day, I didn't have a t-shirt that fit me to wear. They're all too big. And he said, "Well, why don't you wear one of mine?" And my first comment was, "Oh, I can't fit into one of your t-shirts." And I was like, "Oh shit, maybe I can."
Okay.
And that was kind of one of those moments, but I still like TMI, but like I still, if I come out of the shower in a towel and he kind of makes a comment or goes to like flick the towel or whatever, I still am super self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
Um, I
Exactly.
still feel like I'm that bigger person. It hasn't necessarily changed that element yet. I can feel a shift, um, but that's still definitely a part of the relationship that I need to work on, is that acceptance piece. But I've been very lucky to have somebody who's been very supportive. But I think you need to set clear expectations up front and have that conversation
Yeah.
before you have surgery and say, look at, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I need from you in order to be successful, but I don't think it would have been fair for me to walk in and say, "Okay, these are the changes I'm making and you have to make them." I have to take accountability and ownership and have that willpower to, yes, have the support, but ultimately make my priorities and
Yeah,
know that they won't necessarily align all the time.
exactly. I think you've highlighted, and this is not to discourage anybody from doing it, but there is a large statistic of women who end up having bariatric surgery and then unfortunately, like, end up divorced.
The
It's
divorce rate is huge after
huge
surgery. It's
in
like
the bariatric.
50% or something. It's
It's way
crazy.
higher. It's like 60 something
Yeah,
for
it's
women,
nuts.
and for men, it's like 10% because, women are better. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's big, and I think, like, what you've highlighted is I don't think a lot of people have these
No.
conversations, and talk about how I don't expect you to change everything, but I expect you to support me in a way that we no longer maybe do this. And I think that's the hard thing for a lot of people in pre-existing relationships is they're not going to change everything, nor do they have to, but
Yeah.
are you gonna be able to navigate that? And are they gonna be the type of partner that, you know, when you're in the early days of this surgery, bring home a pizza and eat it in front of you? Or are they
Right?
gonna go, "I'm gonna eat out tonight and let you do your
You
thing?"
stay home.
You know what
Yeah,
I
like,
mean?
we didn't order pizza for 6 months, and we were a regular pizza family. It's the one it's the one fast food thing we have in town, and so my gosh, my voice is going. We didn't order pizza for 6 months, um, but you also have to have not only the conversation about, "This is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, this is the support I need, etcetera. This is what I expect from you, or I would hope I would get from you. This is what I do not expect of you." We've also talked about on this how you change as a person through this process, and I've said it before, I am not the same person I was 6 months ago, 3 months ago, even a couple weeks ago. And so that I think is where a lot of the tension can come from is my priorities have changed. My outlook on things have changed. My attitude on things have changed. Um, I put I'm getting better. I'm still not all the time great, but I've gotten better at putting my needs further up, higher up on the list than everybody else. And that's a big shift, right? Because when you're somebody who always puts everybody else first and you always put yourself in the back burner, people get used to that. And people
Yeah,
get used to you doing things for them and looking after things. And I have started to work on changing that. And that's my own fault is I let that happen for far too long.
sure.
And I let people get used to that. And so I have now made like non-negotiables of, for example, I need this time to record the podcast, or this is my time where I need to work out. These are the food items I need to have in the house. These are the priorities I need to look after. And that doesn't always sit well with people because people don't like change. And
They
you can
don't.
get really complacent in your relationships. And you have to have somebody who understands where those changes are coming from, and that it's not an attack on them. It's not a personal thing on them, but you are becoming a different person. And sometimes when that happens, your differences become very apparent. And some people don't like those new priorities that you have. And you have to talk about that.
Yeah. And I think that's, like, the most important thing, and, um, also good that you talked about too, like, the self-esteem is still there.
Oh my
It's
gosh, it's
still
still there. I still cover myself up all the like. I've always been bad at that. I still cover myself up, even before surgery, when I got my heaviest. Devin would always say, "Why are you wearing that? Like, why do you?" And he would always. I remember we went once. We went to his cousin's wedding, and we forgot all of our clothes at home. And it was like an out of town overnight hotel wedding, like a couple hours away. And we got to the hotel and realized we left my dress and his suit in the front hall at home, and the wedding was in like an hour and a half. So we had to book it, find a clothing store in this town we didn't know, and buy a new suit for Devin that they could tailor in like an hour and a new dress for me. And I remember Devin came with and he was bringing me all these dresses to try on and they were all like form fitted, no sleeves, all this kind of stuff. And I would put them on and he would like, "Come out of the fitting room." I said, "Nope." Like, "Come out." "Nope." So then I finally come out and he would be like, "Oh my God, you have to buy that dress." And I would look at it and oh, I can see that roll. It's hugging me here. It's coming out. Nope, wouldn't do it. And he would get so mad at me and just because he didn't understand
Yeah,
why I saw myself the way I saw myself, and why I couldn't see myself the way he sees me. And I
yeah.
think I've never talked about this with him, but I think he's hoping that the surgery will change that and it will give me the confidence that I have been
That's so
missing.
lovely.
And it's slowly coming. It's
Yeah.
slowly coming. Um, but it's really hard, and I think that's probably where some of the struggle is, "Okay, well, you lost 97 pounds. Why are you still covering up? Why are you still covering up? Why are you still doing" like, because it's so ingrained in who you are.
It is, and, like, I know that they see the changes and they're
Yeah.
interested in it, and but, like, for us,
It's harder to
there's
see
so
it.
much, and we have a loose skin and things to think about, so let me
Yep.
ask you a question that I think people will wanna know, but it might
Yep.
be very personal.
Yep.
How long after surgery did you wait before you guys,
Long
hooked up
time.
again? New
Long time.
body new body, who dis?
Long time. Part of it was because you become very fertile post-surgery.
Oh, okay, so yes,
So, I had to wait till I was on birth control, which, yes, I'm back on birth control.
very smart call
Um,
out,
yeah,
yes.
because I don't want no more kids. I don't want nope, I'm good. So I had to wait till that. But yeah, long time.
Okay,
Like, sorry, Devin, if you're listening. Probably isn't. Long time. Because yeah, the confidence is still not there. And then, like you said, then you become hyper aware of the loose skin where things you were already worried about things sagging, and now you're like, oh my gosh, now this is sagging. Like, what happened to my boobs? They look like flapjacks. Like, look at how they're laid. Like, you become hyper aware of all of the other changes and like, okay, I had saggy arms before, but now because I'm getting loose skin, it's all like it's wrinkly saggy. Like, oh, it takes things to a whole new level. And like you said, they're looking at you going, oh my gosh, you've lost this much weight. You're doing this, like you've shrunk. And he's made so many comments like that, and bless his heart. Um, but we still see it as, okay, yeah, I lost that weight, but now I have this and I have this and this and this. And so even if you're not focused on the extra pounds, you're now focused on the extra skin and the way things don't sit the way they used to sit before. And you still find ways to pick apart yourself, and you still find ways to be self conscious. So it's tough. You think it's going to solve everything, and it's not.
it's yeah, and I think that's a really important thing to highlight is, like, it takes a while for us to get where we need to go,
Yeah.
so, being patient in the fact that we're not gonna love our bodies instantly,
No.
but also, like, this is gonna be our obsession for a few years too, right? And so, um, make sure you have that support system and you pre-talk about that support because whether it's a new relationship or an existing one, if that person is not going to see you through this.
Hmm.
A lot of the horror stories we do hear are women have had this surgery
Yeah.
and the men in their lives absolutely refuse to do anything to support it. And in fact, will eat and drink whatever they want in front of them. There's a great example, in our family. We knew someone that was an alcoholic who
Hmm.
wanted to get better. And her husband refused to stop drinking, and
Yeah.
people were like, You have an alcoholic, and
Right.
they're trying." And the response was, "Well, I'm not an alcoholic, so why the hell do
Mm,
I have to stop?" And
yeah.
it's like, at some point, I understand that you wanna live your life, but
Yep.
do you not love this person enough to give that up for a little bit?
Yeah.
To help them a little bit? To say, "You know what? I'll just go eat out at lunch at my office when they can't see me do it."
Yep.
Like, you beware of people who come home and
Right.
go, "I bought a whole cake, here you go." It kind of also goes back to, and, like, I know that this is gonna be something that I have to pay attention to as well because this
Yep.
happens for people dating. This is not a marriage thing. I have to be very cautious of those people that just like to bring others down and do it with a
Mhm.
smile on their face.
Big
Because
time.
again, the ex that I had who was super physically and mentally abusive would do shit like,
Yeah.
"We're gonna go to Dairy Queen and you super deserve it and get a big like, knowing I hated my body because for him it was his control over me was,
Right.
"I know you hate your body and I'm gonna make you feel like I'm the only person that you could ever get with a
Yeah.
body like that, but then I'm also gonna shove you full of food and convince you that it's totally okay to eat like this."
Yeah.
And I have to watch for that too because you'll
Big
see a lot
time.
of stories on Reddit where they say, "I got into a relationship and now I've gained 40 pounds."
Yeah. For sure.
Yep, watch that
Yep.
because, like, don't don't let whoever you're in a relationship with be the thing that gives you permission to break
Yeah.
your amazing work. You are
Yeah.
so much more than a relationship, I
Yeah.
think is but I understand how that could be so hard, especially if you've been with someone for 20, 30, 40 years, like,
Yeah.
that is your person,
Yep.
and you have to believe that they have your best interest at heart, and I don't think it's malicious, but sometimes people just don't like when you better yourself,
Yeah.
and don't quite understand.
When you
So just
become stronger mentally, physically, emotionally, and there's a difference between, like, I don't wanna say it sounds bad, but, like, when people are like, "Oh, you know, it doesn't matter. I love you for who you are." That's great, and I appreciate that. However, and Devin and I have talked about this too because, like, he did love me when I was at my heaviest,
Mhm.
but you also want that person who wants the best for you. And so, like you said, like and like I was talking about, I didn't expect him to not ever eat chips because I didn't want chips. But yes, if he was having chips, he would buy them when I wasn't there. He would put them out in the shop where I don't go, and he would have them when he was out there by himself. There was no mention of it, there was no showing it. Um, and if I had brought up, wanting something, he would remind me in a supportive, positive way, but do you really want that? If you do, that's on you. I'm not gonna stop you, but
Yeah.
think
Yep.
about think about what you're doing and think about why you're doing this and give that extra little push. And again, like he has a physical job. He doesn't work out. I don't expect him to get up at 4:45 with me and work out with me. But
No.
know that that's my time and that's what I'm doing at that moment.
Right.
Um, and that's all there is to it. So there's you can support people and and love them for who they are, but still want the best for them and
Mhm.
support them in that
Yep.
positive way and encourage them in a positive way.
Do you have any advice for married
Yeah.
women or men who are listening,
Yep.
but married people that are about to start this journey or start a weight loss journey?
I think number one, communication is a big one. Like I said, I involved Devin from day one when I came home from the doctor and told him right away that this is what the doctor had suggested. He was on that very first call with the clinic where they started explaining everything. I always, after my appointment, sat down and said, Do you want to hear what we talked about? Explained all of the options to him, the
Mhm.
processes, what it would be like.
Smart.
Um, Communication for sure, because you're going through a lot. Um, and I remember afterwards talking to him too about like those first couple weeks where you're not really eating, you're not really drinking, you're not the happiest person, let's face it. You're moody. And even as now, 6 months out, my body is still changing. My hormones are changing. There are days when I am probably not the easiest person to deal with. So, having that open and honest communication from the beginning is so important. And just laying out why you're doing this, what you want out of it, what your expectations are, and then continually checking in. Because, as we said, I'm changing every couple months. My priorities are changing, so making sure that you're continually having that open dialogue about how you're feeling and about
Mhm.
what's changing, where your thoughts are, and just making sure that you have that safe space to have those conversations, and that they can also come to you, and that he's come to me and been like, "Steph, you're being a real bitch today, okay?" And have to tone it down and rein it in and be like, "You know what? Yeah, yeah, I'm a little cranky today." And sometimes that makes me sit back and go, "You know what? I didn't work out today. So yeah, I am a little bit not
Mhm.
as happy as I usually am when I work out." Or, "Ooh, you know what? Haven't had protein in a while. Maybe I'm getting a little hangry."
Yep.
So communication 100% through the entire process is super important. Super
I think
important.
so. I love it. I think that's really good advice for people. I obviously have 0 advice for dating because I have not done it yet, but, um, follow along because I do plan on, covering this as much as humanly possible
Yeah.
as I date, the good, the bad. I actually would turn it over to our audience. Can you give me advice? Can you
Recommend
let
some
me
apps for
know?
Hannah to
Yeah,
try.
just, let me know what advice you
Yeah.
have, anybody who's gone through
Send the
bariatric surgery
applications into
or
the
not,
slide
anything
into the
legal.
DMs.
Help me, please, God. But no, seriously, if anybody has advice, I will do my best to cover the whole dating thing because I
Yeah.
know it's really scary for a lot of us. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people have questions about how are you going to navigate telling them your story and talking and
Yeah.
like I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know if this is going to be good or bad. I
For
don't know if
sure.
I'm going to be judged for it. I mean, I'm very open that I even have a podcast that they could go listen to if they would like. So,
Yeah.
that is listed as well. Have at it. Enjoy. So I will, maybe to hold me accountable, I'll let you guys know what comes up.
Yeah.
discussed, what we talk about. Um, I'm nervous and anxious, but like I do know that this is what I want. I
Yep.
just I'm just nervous about the whole thing, right?
Which is
So
fair. It's a huge step and a huge change.
I have
It's
a pretty
totally
good
fair.
life, and I just don't want to bring somebody into it who's going to fuck the whole thing up, you know? So,
Yep. Baby
um,
steps.
baby steps for sure, taking it day by day for sure, kind of just figuring it out as we go. But that'll be my thing to you guys is I will do my best to keep you all updated
I
on
love it.
how it's going, how it's yeah, good, bad, ugly, ooh, who
All
knows,
the
but
things.
all the things.
I'm
But
here for it.
I'll keep you guys updated. And like, this is a topic that we will keep revisiting. The
Yeah.
further we get out from surgery, more and more
Yep.
things happening. We'll cover it. I want to do another episode on this where Steph can talk about not just relationships, but having young girls,
Oh,
having
that's
daughters.
a whole bucket right there.
Yep, having daughters and going through
Yep.
surgery, I think is like an amazing topic that I would love to hear about. But yeah, I thank you for letting me be vulnerable and talk about my my dating, my fears, and like this is not easy, guys, at all. But
No.
I hope to start making progress here. I really do.
I think you will. It's
It's
one
just
step
not,
at a time, right? One step at a time. Baby steps. Baby steps.
yeah.
You got it.
So
You
it's
got
not
this. And then
easy,
if
but
not, we'll find you a farmer, Hannah.
hey, listen, I'm gonna come out that way, and if I can get me a nice farmer with a
Get some chicken wings and a farmer all in one
there
night.
we go. And hey, I'll live in the middle of nowhere, so
Right?
I'm okay with that. But yeah, listen, just know it doesn't matter how much weight you've lost or
No.
what you look like. Oh my God, we all have insecurities that you wouldn't even imagine.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you've been married for
Mm-mm.
a year, for 50 years, if you're dating, if you're not dating.
We can't help
Um,
it.
it's there and it's real and it's even if you haven't had weight loss surgery, I think any woman can relate to how we're feeling right now.
100%.
Um,
It's all such a mental it's
fuck,
all such a mental game, and it takes
it is.
time, and so give
It is.
yourself that time. But I
Yeah.
think, like I said, even when it comes to dating and, like I said, being afraid not knowing, being afraid of, "What do I tell these people? How do I have the conversation?" I think so much of this boils down to communication. And again, not saying you have to come out with a billboard saying, "I had bariatric surgery." Um, but just being open about communication and letting it flow. And if it comes up, it comes up. And if you're having surgery or you're thinking about having surgery, having those honest discussions with the people around you or the people you're in a relationship with, super key.
Super, super, super key.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening to our kind of raw conversation. Please submit questions on this episode. We'd love to know
Mhm.
what we missed, what we didn't cover, what you want to
Yep.
hear. Would you guys be interested in me covering dating on Instagram? Like, I know we
Yes.
can, I know we do day in our lives and what we eat. And like Steph has said, I started a new job. I'm back in influencer marketing. It's just been really busy as I juggle leaving my old job for my new job. So I will be back on Instagram very soon in June. I'll be posting a lot more. Is this what you'd like to see from me? Like my dating, my app usage, if I'm going so like let me know and I'm happy to cover it. I do not hide this side of my life. They know I run a podcast. It's in all
Yep.
my profiles. So bonus points to whoever listens to this podcast and then mentions it in our first messages. That would be awesome.
There you go.
But yeah, we're going to be back next week with another episode. We'll let you know. That one will be a secret, but we'll be back with what that is. Some exciting news on our end is we've been accepted into a creator lab, which is kind of cool, where they can help us grow the podcast and get it out in front of more people. So stay tuned for more info there. But we're both really excited about
Yes.
posting it on a new platform. You won't lose any access to it. You'll find it everywhere you've always found it. But this might help us reach more people.
Which would be
And
awesome.
specifically for small people like us. So we're
Yep.
really excited to have gotten into the creator lab. We're really excited they accepted us and we'll share what that looks like for you, but there might be some small changes over the couple of weeks, but it won't be any changes to our publication
No.
days or how
We're
you
not
access
going
us.
anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. So and Bo is sneezing up a storm.
I
So I
love it.
love it. That is my cue that it's time to go. But thanks everybody for listening and
Yeah.
stuff like always. Just thanks for being my
My
co-host.
gosh. Anytime. I love it.
I love it. All right,
Thanks,
everybody. We'll see
guys.
you next week.
Bye.